You popped up on my feed or whatever you call it, and I mentioned you to Andy. I go, "Have you heard of this guy? Have you heard of this guy?" He goes, "I have heard of this guy." And then the next thing I know, he was on the phone with you. And I went, "Oh my God, you're actually on the phone with him? That is amazing." I'm going to go ahead and introduce you.
Okay, yay, thanks.
David Avocado Wolfe. We are thrilled. What a pleasure. You are the rock star and the Indiana Jones of the superfoods and longevity multiverse. Your social media posts reach millions of people each week around the world with succinct, powerful, inspirational quotes, news, health information, and education. With over 28 years of dedicated experience and having hosted nearly 3,000 live health events, David has led the environmental change for radiant health via a positive mental attitude, eco-community building, living spring water, and the best ever quality organic foods, wild foods, juices, and herbs. David Avocado Wolfe is the visionary founder and president of the nonprofit, the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation charity, with a mission to plant 18 billion fruit, nut, and medicinal plants all over the earth. Oh my God. Welcome, David Wolfe. That's incredible. I didn't know
Right on,
that.
thank you. Yeah, we're over 20 years in 2022. We celebrated our 20th year anniversary as a foundation. We've planted well over 1 million trees in the world, and a small business becomes a big business simply by becoming more refined, efficient, and capable. And so that's kind of what we're doing is we spent 20 years building this movement. We've got plantings happening almost every day of the week, all year long.
Globally or
Yeah,
through?
all over the world, and from Brazil to North America to Hawaii to Southeast Asia to South Africa and Zimbabwe to Uganda, all Iceland. We planted all over the place.
You know,
Wow.
the world needs more trees, but also more fruit trees. Wow, that's cool. You get trees and you get food from it.
Right. So we
Good.
plant fruit, nut, and medicinal trees only. So there's no ornamental trees. It's strictly food and medicine. And then also another directive of all our plantings is that once we plant there, even if somebody never takes care of those trees ever again, they can survive. So we always plant according to the environment where the trees are.
That's such a good. How did you came up with that idea, man? Because that's really. I try to get the city of LA to plant more fruit trees, and that doesn't work. So they plant them along the
It's
street and stuff.
we're living in some kind of a, I guess the back in 2006 2005 somewhere was a film called Idiocracy. We're living in something like that where the government is completely weaponized against you. Anything that's good or would be good for people has nothing to do with what the government is about at all. It's become a completely inverted, actually totally inverted, where the government is about them and their lobbies and about what they want, has nothing to do with what the people want or what's good for the people. So we are our own government ultimately. So that's how I got into the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation. It's like, what solves our problems at every level? Well, the best way to best way to overthrow the government is to overgrow the government. So we're
That
overgrowing the government.
is great. That is great. I love your logic.
And
I
so we're
know.
planting trees faster than they can cut them down is kind of our strategy.
That is really cool. I love that. I love that. Do you plant the fruit trees local for that country, right?
Yes, and what would make it in those latitudes, even again, without even ever getting any watering or anything. So, for
How
example,
come?
in any Mediterranean climate, we're always planting figs, that because there's just such survivors, and that's the kind of the idea.
And things are flourishing and thriving, even though the soil isn't really as rich all over the place as like maybe Hawaii or India. I mean, are you producing food?
Soil, yes. Well, yeah, no, we produce a massive amount of food. In fact, I can give you the numbers. Let me see if I've got them here. I got them somewhere close. Let me think about the easiest way to get them to you. I got the numbers on the amount of food. Let me see. Might be able to get it right here. That we produce just. Let's see. I think I've got a year-end summary. Okay, so we produced 1.7 million pounds of harvest in 2022.
Great.
one from our trees, 1.7 million pounds.
That's
So
really
that's
wonderful.
how big it's getting.
Oh my,
Wonderful.
that's incredible.
You know, when I lived in Costa Rica for a little while, I actually worked for Chiquita Bananas, and they were organic. And they had this strange rule that all the workers were not allowed to get any fruit, even if it fell to the ground. They weren't supposed to get any food whatsoever. They had 40,000 acres of mangoes. But it was also against the law for them to sell the fruit if it fell on the ground. It was wasted. So I came up with the idea of having hangers, you know, what do they call it, where you hammocks underneath the tree, catch them, and told them, make a gate so people can come and fix it. Trust them. They live right next door to your orchard. Why aren't you giving them the fruit? Getting things to the people is not an easy task, even when everything's right there, isn't it?
Right. Again, that's the system that we're in, the Babylon system, you know, as we like to say, this system is weaponized against us. It doesn't have anything to do with common sense, has nothing to do with anything that makes any sense at all. And so what we're just going back to the basics. It's like, well, you know, we can just we don't even have to deal with that system. Let's just bypass it and we just start over, you know, and start brand new. And the best way to do that is just plant the trees, and then they bring so as the shade comes and the trees develop, they bring the water table up, and then you start getting more plants growing underneath the trees, and eventually you get that's your vegetables. Ultimately, I was never a good vegetable grower. My strategy was always put the trees in and the vegetables will come naturally, and that's really true.
That is so
Oh, right,
cool.
right. Uh-huh.
You know, I work for the tree people. I didn't work volunteer. You know the tree people in LA here? You've heard of them,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
They don't plant any fruit trees. You should talk to them, man. They don't plant a single
Jeez.
fruit tree.
The tree people, right.
They plant
I
trees
mean, it just
everywhere.
makes no sense. You know, again, it's an idiocracy. And again, we're at a time, we're at an inflection point in history where this can't go on. It's not sustainable, actually, right? The systems that we're in. And so, and then we have, you know, huge amounts of stealing and corruption going on by governments. Also, again, unsustainable. So eventually it collapses back to the local level, which is great. That's what we want. That's what we need anyway. And as it collapses back to the local level, then we're there with our expertise, which is, oh, we know how to survive. We'll just plant all these trees. And then look at what happens in the terms of the production of oxygen, clean air, food, shade, bringing the water table up, developing the ecosystem again. So animals come back into the ecosystem, et cetera. It all begins with the trees.
It's
Right.
so weird because we do buildings, we do roads, we do everything to destroy the earth. And there used to be a place in LA here, it was like a farmer's market. It was like maybe 20 acres of a farm. It had fruit trees, they cut it down. And guess what's there? It's like a shopping center now. That was the last piece that the people could come and grow stuff. And it's so weird. It really truly is. And I also like what you're doing in terms of helping people to clean out their bodies, to to be happy and healthy. Because that's where our show is, from your soul to your soil. Isn't
Well,
that
that's
cool?
why I thought of you, because of your stomach issues, Andy, and ironically that you have all these properties you've had since the 80s in Malibu here, that you're adding microbes to the soil. But Andy's constantly with this stomach thing. And then when I heard you, David, talking about activated charcoal, I actually hadn't heard of that since I was in Bali in the 90s, when someone told me I had to take it. And then I kind of just let it go. But the idea of it being a filter and doing it often, daily, perhaps, I think what you said was incredible to hear. So
I could, you know, of all the things I've ever stumbled across in all my life, and as a nutritionist, I am a nutritionist. Actually, that's my business. This is something that is it makes the most sense. So first of all, for something to be a universal cure, it has to be universally available and easy and free. Charcoal is universally available, easy, and it's free.
So
It's always been
coconuts
there for
too.
humankind.
So,
You pick the hardwood. It could be coconut shell. We cooked some coconut shells last night. We had a big fire in the front yard last night, with a lot of propolis. What went in there? Actually, a lot of this propolis right here. That's propolis right there from our hives.
Oh,
and that's a really good way to get a fire really roaring. And you break that all down, and then what will happen is I'll be digging stuff out of that, and it will be going into the holes of these trees I'm about to plant. So the charcoal becomes the bottom layer, and the filtration medium, and the negative polarity all at once. So when you take charcoal into your body, you become more of a negative polarity, so you attract higher quality oxygen out of the atmosphere automatically.
It works.
That's
It
just
truly works. It
it's
truly
just
works.
truly an important, very important discovery that when you take charcoal into you, you automatically attract to you higher quality atmospheric gases.
That's what nature does. Nature, the
That,
soil. You know what the microbes, the most important thing in the soil for microbes? Carbon.
there you go. And so the carbon they want to reduce, actually, by the way, is us, right? That's what they're
Yeah.
trying to do. They're trying to reduce us out of the equation. In order to really get to utilizing carbon, we need to get really into it, which means use carbon to filter our water, our air to filter our body. So I take about 2,000 milligrams of activated charcoal every day, coal biter activated charcoal every day,
yeah.
and some days more. Some days I'll take 2,500 milligrams, or some days I'll do a lot more, 6,000 milligrams. Let's say
How
I'm
many
burning the
milligrams?
midnight oil.
How many milligrams are in one of those things you sell in the activated carbon?
Each capsule of coal biter is 400 milligrams.
400. I've been taking 2 a day, and
Oh, good,
you know,
perfect. That's a really good dose.
when I first heard of you a long, long time ago, I went to the store to buy this activated charcoal that comes in pills, and I'm looking at it, I'm taking it, I says, it's mostly filler, it's mostly a bunch of other stuff in there, and I didn't like it. I said, the heck with activated charcoal, because there's no this. But when I started taking the very first thing that I took one, right? My body said, ooh, hey, my stomach slowed down, my all the things I was having, because I had dental work, and it really screws up antibodies, what's it? But what do they call it when you have to take when you
Your
go to the dentist?
microbiome. Yeah, the antibiotics disturb your friendly bacteria.
They destroy. It's like setting off an atomic bomb in your stomach. Now I take 2 a day, and I feel really. If I don't take it, I feel my stomach starts burping. I get the sinus problem, everything all over again. So I really, really. And I'm thinking of taking more, because you can't overdose in this stuff. You're really serious, you can't. You can take 4 of them, and your body will still go, give me more. I love it. I also love the coated silver, because I've been into silver like all my life, trying to find a good source of silver, going to this silver company, that silver company, this silver company, and your coated silver is so cool, and it works
What
one
a
drop.
insane breakthrough. The coated. I mean, I didn't even. My friend, who Dr. Pop, and what's his name up there in Clarkson University. He's the inventor of it, actually. His name's escaping me right now, but they came to me and I just thought it was a joke. I was like, you get 20,000 parts per million silver. Come on. I mean, I've worked with silver scientists for 20 years. You could never get above 900 parts per million by the best scientists. And that immediately precipitates out. Usually a really good colloidal silver is 200 parts per million, 20,000 parts per million. I
And
was
you don't
like,
even
no.
get blue, and your skin doesn't
Wow.
get blue.
Right. And so that it was a big game changer, but it's a game changer in a number of ways. One is not only taking it internally, but it is a huge game changer topically. Like
Yes.
it's a medicine. It's once we overthrow the medical system and get rid of this total tyrannical medical system that's going on, which is some kind of control system created by maniacs, and we get to real medicine, it's like frontline emergency room materials. Like, for example, a friend of mine cut his hand very badly here, and the doctor who was sewing him back up called me and he said, can I put coated silver in there, because he's telling me to put coated silver in the wound, and I'm trained not to do that, obviously. I was like, no, put it in the wound, actually sew it in.
Oh, wow.
and
That is so cool. I wish I had it
and
when I was in the service, because people were getting shot up, blown up, and they were doing all kinds of stuff that didn't. When I did that work, I would find an herb, squeeze it on the plant, and they thought they had gangrene. Oh my God, you got gangrene? No, that's called chlorophyll. How's
for
that?
any
Right?
wound. And
But
it's like that. It's like a universal cure topically. By the way, I ran into those guys a week later just by chance. I was in Austin, Texas, and they were both there. And I was like, "Oh, dude, what happened to your hand?" So he showed me his hand, and then the doctor was there, and he's like, "Oh, I could take those stitches out right now." I think he had 7 stitches, and he took them out. When 1 week it was 100% better. And I was like, "Wow!" By the way, chapped lips, 1 drop of coated silver like this, that's the end of chapped lips. Done.
no, you also have a coat of silver spray, which I use,
Yes.
the little spray thing, because I slammed my thumb in my truck door, and the thumbnail's coming off, and I've been spraying it with it to keep it from getting infected. So I had a bite, I had a cut next door to it, right next, to my thumb. Spraying it, it's gone. It's just one day that it
It's
healed
over.
totally right up.
Yeah, we're okay. So this is something that I've been trying to alert people to my whole career. It's what I've been doing my whole career. Both my parents are doctors. I grew up in medicine. I'm from it. I'm born into it. And where real medicine is at has absolutely nothing to do with these antiquated monopolies that are run by satanic maniacs. I don't even know what better, when they're like, no, you don't get to know what's in this jab, but here we're going to inject you. I mean, when we get to that point, it's gone completely cuckoo, right? So at this point, that system now is going to collapse. It has to collapse because it doesn't work, and a new system will come in that actually does work. And one of the key frontline things will be sprayable carbon 60, sprayable C60, activated charcoal, front lines for any wound healing, any kind of infection. I mean, what we actually have access to is crazy. And again, this monopolized system that we're in, this, whatever the government system, I don't know, however you want to talk about it, is that whole system has nothing at all really to do with healing. It's all basically it's a disease management system that's trying to make you, and also it's very good at emergency room, saving lives in that situation, but then trying to go way outside its boundaries and say, oh, we know what to do with this and that and everything else, when they actually don't, and their technology is antiquated.
And it's the same thing with agriculture. The same thing with agriculture.
Same thing.
These people having the faintest idea how to grow, what to do that's right. It all has to do with money, and that system is going to fall apart too. It has to.
It has to. It's unsustainable. And it's a very good metaphor. Thanks for that metaphor. It's exact. It's a precise metaphor. It's kind of the pharmaceutical monocrop cure for everything. It's like, sorry, that doesn't work. It's not going to be a success, and there's going to be side effects. And then we're even going to see some catastrophic results. So fortunately, and we're seeing it now. Fortunately, we do have the solutions. And fortunately, in the age of information, and what we're doing right here is really important, which is getting people back to the basics, which is planting trees, planting your food, learning how to grow your own food. You don't have to know everything. Maybe you start with tomatoes. Maybe you're good at tomatoes. I don't know. I'm pretty good at cherry tomatoes. That's the only tomato I've ever really been very good at. Everything else, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, David,
Please put that cherry tomatoes.
If we could pick a couple of medicinal plants to grow, what do you suggest?
Aloe vera is a big one, huge. Aloe vera in Southern California, if you're in the LA ecosystem, aloe vera is a big one.
It's a cactus.
Yeah, and then having grown so much in Southern California, as terms of a food that is a good survival food, olives, figs, and avocados. That's a pretty good combination for Southern California. And then if you could throw a citrus in there, like limes. In fact, limes are really my favorite of all the citrus.
Really?
Limes, yeah. And I grew up as a citrus farmer, by the way. Citrus and avocados on the border in San Diego. I mean, that's where that's where I'm from.
Right.
So that's what we started with. Now, I've advanced my work to Hawaii many years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I started coming to Hawaii, and then eventually I'm like, I got to get a farm here and start growing. So I've been on this farm for 17 years. I should run downstairs and show you my best work, which is, I'm an avocado grower. So I'm an avocado breeder, actually. I'm not a grafted avocado guy. People come here to graft off of my trees and they can take those, but I'm not that guy. I don't do graft. I mean, I graft for fun. I want like a cacao tree with 4 different cacaos coming out of it, but that's just for fun. I'm not one of these like, let's monocrop and graft and, do 5,000 of them in a row. No.
Avocados are so good for you too. When I lived in Florida, you ever seen those big avocado? They're like water-based, big giant ones.
Yeah, there's 3 different major groupings of avocados, and the ones that big chunk of them made them to Florida, which is the Caribbean avocados, which are watery.
Yeah.
They're a little bit stringier.
Yeah.
And they're good if you don't have air conditioning. You're like, I need food, but I don't want something that's just super, fatty and oily, because, you're on flat Florida when it's 90 degrees, 100% humidity out. You need that kind of avocado. So those are the Caribbean varieties. Then there's the Mexican varieties, which have more of that pear shape. And then there's the Guatemalan Highland varieties, which are more globe shaped. And of those, the Guatemalan Highland are my personal favorite. And I should really run and get you guys, want to show you what I got going here. Do we have time for that? Should I do that?
Good.
Sure,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have plenty of time.
Okay, let me go run and get that, and then while we're doing that, let me grab my oh, I put it back over there. I want to show you guys my honey, show you what kind of honey we're getting out of here, because we're imagine a Southern California farmer who gets to Hawaii, but we've been here for we're in our third cycle of 7, so it's been quite a while. Where we're at now with all the stuff that we've been learning in the farming world, the biodynamics, we're a biodynamic certified farm. I'm also going to I'm going to go down there and grab my vanilla. You're not going to believe, you've never seen anything like this. I guarantee you've never seen anything like this. People look at it and go, no, 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 that can't be real. That's impossible. It's that level of vanilla. So I'm going to get the honey, the vanilla, and the avocados, and I'll grab some cacao too, just so we can do a little show and tell. How's that sound?
Cool, you're gonna have to ship it to me. Ship me a boxes of stuff.
I would be shipping all kinds of boxes to the mainland, but the state of California blocks it.
Yeah, I bet.
State of California blocks it, right? They don't want the med fly. They don't want this. They don't want that. So they block everything. And, that was, you'd think, oh, well, why can't we just ship to Canada then? Or why can't we ship to New York City? I mean, nothing's going to survive the winter in New York City.
I thought they wouldn't let you ship it to if it had soil in it. How can the fruit have the med fly? It would be in the fruit.
Well, no, it's all a lie, like everything else.
Right?
What they really don't want is they don't want competition to their avocado growing environment in Southern California, which the big island of Hawaii could outgrow all of Southern California in avocados easily. In fact, the big island could outgrow Michoacan, which is the big state in Mexico where they grow most of their avocados, which is, about twice as big as Southern California in production. The big island of Hawaii could easily outproduce all of them. Easily, no problem. I mean, we're just living in, again, the government's against us. The systems are against us, the Babylon money system. But then we don't need it. Actually, we just go, okay, we're just going to bypass and we'll do a new system and we'll create something new. So let me show you that part of that new system. I'll be right back.
Okay, Joe.
Oh, wow. Check it out.
Okay. So let me just show you what we got here.
Oh my God.
I guess we'll start with this.
Oh
This is my best work in avocados.
Nice.
And this one's just about there. It's just softening up. But this is where I'm at with my avocado growing over 44 years. And so what we have here is small seed, large amount of oil, really good epic taste, not too strong though, not too avocado-y, but not too watery. But so it's got the right amount of oil, right flavor. The tree itself is totally a perfect size in the sense that it's not too big that you can't get the avocados, and about 50% of what's up there are avocados. So it has a low amount of leaves.
Oh, wow.
Right. So mostly just is producing fruit for you and it doesn't take up too much room. And it has a very small footprint in terms of it doesn't have to throw out a big canopy. So it's very vertical and it will breed true to seed.
It will breed
true to seed.
Would that grow here?
Yes, it will grow in Southern California. And I can send you a seed.
Yeah, great. I love to get started.
Okay, so remind me and I'll get this to you because this type of thing I think I can slip through their little system,
well,
right?
Seeds you can, right? They can't stop
seed I can get to you. Exactly. So that's avocado. That's my best work. And this one's going to be eaten. It's going to be eaten today. It's just about right there. This right here is egg fruit or the Puteria. This is Lucuma family or Puteria family or Sapote family. Phenomenal fruit. This one's ripe. It's actually starting to break up. So I'm going to just kind of take a piece out and it's like egg. It tastes like it textures like the hard-boiled egg, the yolk.
Oh, wow. It's like a sweet potato almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is similar to a sweet potato.
It's the Sapote family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sapotes are wonderful. That'll grow here too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow. Was that good? Cacao?
Yeah, nice.
Oh, the cacao. Nice.
So in here is about 50 cacao beans. And what we do here is we take these out and we freeze dry them. And we vacuum pack them and sell them on the internet.
Nice.
And you can't get a better crunch. You can't get a better quality. I mean, it's the freshest possible way of getting the cacao to the people with all the nutrients intact. Yeah, real chocolate. This is the real chocolate right here.
Right, that's the real chocolate.
That's where it all comes from. You can see how juicy our citrus gets here. I mean, it's just, you cannot believe how good we finally had. Okay, so I've been working on when I first got this place 17, 18 years ago, there was an orange tree here and a grapefruit tree and a few different citrus. This citrus is here, for example. And all the citrus has done really good here, but this one orange tree had troubles all the years. And we're like, God, what's wrong with this tree? And we tried everything. We've, been doing everything and nourishing it. This year we hit it. We finally hit the jackpot. And interestingly, the main thing that it needed was more light.
Oh,
It
wow.
needed more light, and it produced the best oranges for us. It's a navel orange, and I just made a juice with it last night. That's just navel orange juice. Out of this, out of control,
Was it under a
out of
tree or
control.
something? Was it under another tree?
Yeah, it was kind of at the edge of a forest. And so that part of our property, I've been gradually pushing the forest back. So I took out a couple of trees that were really shading the area, and all of a sudden this year, the magic hit.
You need a
Now,
minimum of at least 8 hours, 8 hours a day, a minimum.
with citrus, it really, that's a big deal. You do need a lot of sunlight for citrus. It's solar, it's the
Yeah,
sun, that's
yeah,
what we got
that's
here.
the sun. Yeah.
Now, let me show you my honey from here. You can see this is the honey from here, which
Oh,
is we
nice,
call it the black gold.
Wow.
nice.
Do you have
And usually
animals on your farm? How do
what
you feed the soil? Do you have
we we
manure?
we use we use compost tea.
Uh-huh.
We have a local guy down the road who is a organic horse manure supplier. So that's another guy we go to. Plus, we have an enormous amount of biomass here. I mean, I'm talking massive with with cacao and coconut shell, just the shells of these. We're sprouting almost everything in coconut and our cacao and durian shells.
Wow.
So we have just a compost pit of cacao and durian shells. And when let's say I'm potting something up that I sprouted in a real small thing and I want to get into a pot and then it's eventually going to go to the ground, that pot is going to consist mostly of cacao shells and durian shells.
You hit upon the one thing that microbes really love. It's you get some of that carbon in there, and the microbes will show up from wherever. Out of the air, they just come right in.
Well, really?
People don't do that over here.
I've got a fire going in the front yard right now. People come from California, they come to Hawaii, and they don't know anything about farming, and they don't realize, like, hey, we're in a jungle here because I'm not by the ocean. I'm in the jungle, so I'm inland. You need a fire, otherwise you're going to have too much biomass, and you need to convert that carbon into charcoal. And then when you put a tree in, you put the charcoal in at the bottom, so that's your polarity, that negative pole against the positively
How did you
charged
figure that
ozone.
out? Because most people just do not get that. Most people just do not get. They throw everything away. They take
Well,
everything
they're
and throw it
afraid to
away.
have a fire. I mean,
They're
it's
afraid.
Yeah.
right. They're afraid to start burning.
It's just, this thing about fire and the use of fire by humanity is a very deep thing for me because I was a raw foodist for so many years and really understanding the role of fire. But just from everybody who's listening, if you want something, a simple concept, let me give you one. If you want to transform your life, you've got to consume a transformative element. The transformative element is charcoal. The entire history of charcoal use by humanity has been loaded with mythology surrounding the transformational nature of ingesting charcoal. J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis had a club called the Coal Biters. The Coal Biters references a Scandinavian concept that when somebody is born who's like the runt of the litter, they're the weakest, least capable. They don't have the ability to deal with the snow, the sleet, the rain, be out there on the farm with the sheep, the cows. They would be the person who'd tend the home fire from age 7 to 14 and consume all the charcoal at the edge of the fire, the coal biter, and they'd be transformed into the most capable, the most resilient, the strongest in the whole family. And that was the traditional cure in Scandinavian culture for somebody who was, quote unquote, runt of the litter. They would be transformed by charcoal at that young age. And by the way, charcoal is absolutely safe for all ages, including newborn babies. That's how crazy it is. And that in a toxic world, we need the most important antitoxin and detoxifier, which is charcoal.
So the
Yeah, I
Chinese
wasn't
have been
sure if
doing.
it was healthy for kids, but I have twin boys and I've been giving it to them. I'm like, it's got to be good for you.
Yeah, good job.
So the
Smart.
Chinese have been
Fascinating.
around.
Fascinating.
The Chinese have been around a long time. And one of the reasons, when I first heard about charcoal, they say bamboo grows really well. So they basically start a fire. They don't burn it all up, but they take that charcoal and they warm water through it. And it all comes out this liquid that they then use on everything to grow. And it was illegal in the United States. It's called bamboo vinegar. It was illegal in the United States because it makes things grow. It's really very good. I used to have it shipped in illegally. Now it's legal. and you can take one. I have a spray, it's a 100-gallon spray. I take one drop of it, put it in there, bubble it overnight with my microbes and stuff. Absolutely amazing stuff. And
Oh,
that's
cool.
how
So
I
it's a
first heard
secret
of it.
ingredient of your compost tea then. Is that
Yeah,
that's what you're saying? That's awesome. Nice
right.
one.
For seaweed. Yeah, I remember you used to have bottles of that burnt bamboo. I love the way it smelt.
Yeah, exactly. It has a very, so I would take that and spray, the bugs would go, what is that? They will go, but it really makes a difference in getting the nutrients, the nutrition, the food that, see, I want to give the plants food, right? And in order to give it, they have to be open. It's the charcoal. It's the charcoal that does it. And this bamboo stuff works because I can't really burn things here and make my own charcoal, you know what I mean? So I buy that. I haven't bought it in a while because the store stopped selling it. I said, why aren't you selling it? I think they made it illegal again. I don't know what's going on. They don't want things that are good for everything. They don't want, this is really simple. It comes one little bottle like that does thousands and thousands of gallons. You only need a little bit.
Wow.
You only need a
Wow.
little bit, but you can smell it. You go, ah, wow, wonderful. I love
They
it.
are this system that we're in, the Babylonian system, really is against the homeopathic principle, actually,
Exactly.
very intensely against it. If you study
Exactly.
mainstream medicine, as I've done over the years, you'll find that one of their biggest targets is homeopathy because
Exactly.
they don't want you to know that a little bit of something can
Exactly.
go a long way. They hate that idea, right? They're trying to create scarcity.
Exactly. Exactly. To me, I've always done homeopathic on everything on myself. If they say take 10 pills, I would take like a third of a pill. You know, I mean, like tiny little bit. You know what I mean? And I studied Bach flower remedies. Well, that's like, one thousandth of,
Homeopathic.
1/1000th, and I figured the atom is the smallest thing, the most powerful. It's the tiniest thing, and that's the way it works. A tiny amount is all you really need, and it works. And people, doctors say, buy this, do this on a regular basis, overdose on everything. They want you to overdose on everything. Same thing with chemical, the fertilizer company, right? Dump fertilizers. More is better, more nitrogen, more. And it's like, doesn't really work that way, does it?
It doesn't work that way. Now, let me show you how this works right here, because this is our vanilla right here.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Oh,
Look at
So
that.
look
Yeah.
at that. See my pinky?
Yeah,
So look
right.
at that. It
wow.
it's the size in the middle right there. It's the size of my pinky. Think of how crazy that is compared to these twigs they're selling us in stores. This is real vanilla. The smell of this, whenever I smell this vanilla, this is vanilla pompona. It smells like baked cookies. It smells like baked chocolate chip cookies. It's the most amazing aroma. When I come up the stairs, that's where I have them all curing. It's just like you're just like
Nice.
you're taken to incredible realms. But this is what could be. This is what should be. Instead, we get these, dried up little twigs. It's so bad. But that's the real deal right there. And I wanted everyone to see that. This is where real farming takes us. It not only takes us to better quality food, it takes us into a state of wonder and astonishment. This cultivar right here, this avocado, this is from breeding avocados, and eventually you stumble on the right one. You're like, okay, this is the right one, and then you breed it, and you're like, oh, okay, it breeds true to seed, and then eventually you can be like, wow, this is where it's at. This kind of stuff can never happen from a super left brain analytical mind. It has to happen from the love. That has to happen from the implementation. It just can't be like, oh, we're going for cultivar, this SB25, and then cultivar this 604, and then that stuff is just, it's horrible. It's way left brain, and the love is lost. So there has to be this part of it that comes from the heart. And I found coming from the heart with growing avocados and many other cultivars, especially cacao, that eventually the right cultivars will prepare, they'll show themselves to you. Be like, hey, look over here. And you go, oh, let's grow more of those. And then you grow more and you see, oh, it's breeding true. Okay, cool. It's the baby produces
That,
what the parent produced.
that's the basics of genetically modified organisms. That's the basis of it. I was telling Michelle about, they were taken to court a long time ago, and the lawyer says exactly what you say. Oh, we take this, we like it, we keep growing it. That's genetically modified. It's genetically engineered organisms we have to watch out when we start taking chemicals and like Roundup and put it in the food. That's why we call it from your soul to your soil. Because if you want to have a happy soul, you have to have a healthy body, and you have to, in order to have a healthy body, the soil has to be healthy too. It's all together.
There's some, yeah, I love that you're into the soil like that. You obviously have to be, but for those who don't know, making soils up sprouting soils, soils that you're going to grow your trees in, is a whole alchemy, because it becomes part of you and your soul. So let me tell you something that's interesting that, Andy, here that we've done that's really, everybody's like, no, you can't do that. And we're like, no, we're doing it. We've been doing it. We've been doing it for decades. And what we do is we bring stuff from the beach up here to the mountain. So I have sprouted thousands of trees in beach sand. You're like, no, you can't do that. It's like, no, yes, you can. It's amazing what beach sand is and what it can be done with it.
I lived in Miami in Homestead. I used to go down to Florida Keys all the time.
Oh,
and I would be collecting. So the hotels that lived on on the beach, they would clear up all the seaweed, make a big pile, and throw it away. I said, I'll take that, and I would take that, and that would be the beginning of my super seaweed. I would take that and dry it and use the salt, use every part of it, and the sand. I've learned to use homeopathic. I would take the sand. Nowadays it's hard to find clean sand, by the way, but you can take the sand, use a little bit, just a tiny little bit, in the water to feed your plants with.
We're a rock dust. We throw it all over from like a rock dust, like it's projected everywhere. There's actually on this farm here, up here on this mountain, we have delivered on this property easily 5 tons of sand. It's probably more like 10 tons. 10 tons of beach sand.
Full of trace minerals. Full of trace minerals.
Full of trace minerals, and also it's got the crystalline and antifungal component. Remember that Rudolf Steiner's whole thing about silica being antifungal. So mostly it's around this house because we want to keep the jungle away, right? Like jungle, stay over there. I've got this avocado tree. It's right there. You can kind of see it actually. It's through that window right there. That avocado tree is absolutely massive. I mean, it goes all the way. You can see it right there. Right? You can see a little bit of the leaves. It's it's a massive tree. It's bigger than this whole house. And that tree, it produces these big ones like this. And so constantly I'm having to try to chop it, like stay off the house, man. Because as soon as it gets over the house, then you've got the shade, then the sun can't dry out the mold and all of that. So up to that tree, I was going to take that tree out, and then but it produces really good avocados, big ones, big globe ones, huge, as big as your head. Yeah. I was going to take it out, but I had a dream that night that said, don't do it. My friend who was going to help me cut the tree down, he showed up and he's like, bro, we can't cut the tree down. I said, why? He said, I had a dream not to cut it down. So that was that tree right there, a huge tree, bigger than the whole house. And the big part of what we do is we try to keep any of that encroaching jungle out with the sand and the coral and the debris from things. For example, huge amount of charcoal washes up on these beaches here. It's a thing, Andy. I got to tell you, I take people to the beach. I'm like, look at where's this charcoal coming from? Look at it. There it is. It's everywhere. How's it here? You can't tell me there's people having beach fires here every night, because there isn't. Where's the charcoal coming from that's washing up?
Mother Nature is a recycler. She's an amazing recycler. Sends everything around the world.
Yep, it floats, and so it makes it from around the world and washes up on the beaches. It's a thing. It's really interesting. And as you know, you start taking the debris from the beach and you take it to the mountain. It's the mystical union of opposites that creates a soil that pops.
And one of the other things that Rudolf Steiner says is that it has cosmic energy.
That's right. That's right. The same. I thought about that for many years, decades actually, and listen to what I came up with. I started realizing that there's one substance on Earth that gets all the stars and all the sun all the time because nothing grows out of it, which is beach sand.
Exactly right.
Right? It's exposed to the whole sun and all the stars and all the heavens without any shade, 24/7. I was like, whoa.
It's like millions of years old.
It's old. It's got all that wisdom in it. It's all those broken. I mean, if you take sand and look at it under a microscope, what a treasure. That's an insane thing. That's so cool. And so we put it and we use it on this land here, and it's so special. In fact, you can see right there I've got a couple cactus. See those 2 cactus right there?
And they're growing in it.
And they're growing in 100% beach sand.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Just, oh, you can't do that. No, don't do that. Oh, don't. We got it. It's, these things that we have, they're taboos, like superstitions. They need to be tested because they could be from Babylon.
They are. You know that one of the things the city loves to do is put chemicals in the water to kill everything. So why do we have sprinkler systems? We're constantly sprinkling the water with stuff that kills everything, just kills everything. I had one lady, I told her, get a whole house filter, whole property filtration system, $10,000, whole property, that's Sarah, whole property filtration, filter the water out. Constantly we're killing everything, just kill. It's totally sterile. No wonder there's diseases on the trees. And I tell people a long time ago, I can tell that person is living there by the condition of the property. You can look at the property, and if they're healthy and happy, they wouldn't call me in the first place. But if I go there and I see sick trees, even the ants are running away, the people come out, they're sick too.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. It's, the healthy environment, healthy people, healthy soil, as you're saying, it's really the soil and soul, right? And that's got to be why we say the sole of the foot, right? When it hits the earth.
Right.
There's a definite relationship there.
Really
and also
is.
being barefoot on the earth. And we
Really
try
is.
to incorporate all the elements, earth, air, fire, and water in all soils, right? That's just a strong ancient consideration.
Energy flows in from your feet. Energy flows in from your hand. So if people are disconnected, they wear shoes, they drive cars, they have all kinds of things to disconnect you. But if you walk on it, you're getting energy coming in through your feet, and then it comes in through your hand. And it's really, really something that people need to learn to do because they're separated. I tell people a long time ago, we were in the soil. We decided we're going to walk around. So we figured out how to take the soil with us in our stomach and move around. But we still are connected. We're so connected. Just because we're moving around doesn't mean we're connected. We're not connected. That's why it's important to somehow reconnect and reestablish that connection. Because if you don't, you're going to die. You're just simply going to die because you need to be connected to. I tell people that's the reason why we eat. The real reason why we eat, because we get that cosmic energy into our body. All the minerals, all these trace minerals, you know what they do? They each absorb different cosmic energy. I tell people a cosmic beam will shoot through the earth in a nanosecond, and it gets absorbed by these minerals, and then we eat them and we get them.
Well said.
That's true.
You reminded me of something that we were doing on the Big Island the other day. I was on the Big Island the other day, and I was planting an ulu orchard or breadfruit orchard and breadfruit and durian over there. And as we were getting the first trees in, one of the things that we got when we were on the south side of the island, we went and got a bunch of beach sand to bring up on that mountain for that planting, just to homeopathically spread all over the orchard. But I also got a big jug of ocean water. And so every one of those trees got a little splash of ocean water as it went into the ground. That was that you talk about cosmic forces. Ocean water, cosmic levels.
Your consciousness was right there. You wasn't like sleeping, thinking of something else. Your intent was, I'm giving you this amazing food. I'm doing this amazing thing for you. See, when I tell Michelle, when we go on spray, you have to consciously be thinking. I call it the magic wand. We're spraying magic everywhere. You're consciously, and the trees are going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The birds, the bees, everybody's going, thank you, thank you. It's the consciousness thing. You can't just be a zombie walking around going, da, da, da. You have to really be there and channel the energy, channel everything through. Everything you're doing is so cool because it shows that you have the conscious, you're aware, you see that, and you're sprinkling homeopathic. Who does that stuff?
I know.
With the conscious.
I always think of sand as dirty. And I love Steiner. The kids went there till fifth grade, but I never thought of the sand pushing the forest away and the silica. It's so fundamental too.
It's fundamental. It's very fundamental. This mystical union of opposites, which is you bring things from the beach to the mountain, you bring things from the mountain to the beach, is a very important concept in farming. You're always trying to get dissimilar elements because between them you have the pop that creates growth.
The yin and the yang.
The yin and the yang. And so this is that thing, Steiner would talk about the silicaceous mountains breaking down on one side of the Tyrol and then the calcification mountains on the other side of the Tyrol. And then they come together, and where they mix, that's where you get the dynamic interaction of opposites. This is what you see in the Andes really still clearly because the mountains there are so steep and you're at such a high altitude. There's not a whole lot of civilization. When you're in the valleys of Europe, when you're in valleys of almost every country in the world, it's all taken up because people got onto that land, to farm it early, but it's mostly been used up because all the dissimilar elements have been eroded down or they've been used up or they've been picked up by plants and shipped away and not replenished. Now we're at a point of like, okay, how do we get back back to replenishment. And also, this is a big one, Andy, and I want to throw this in here because this is something that never gets the light of day. It's illegal. It's illegal to even talk about it. People are so bought into this brainwash, it blows my mind. And that's this. Everyone's like, no, you can't. There has to be something has to come from something else. And it's like, no. When you're dealing with Mother Nature, something comes from nothing. People, that's the one. If you get the Steiner biodynamics going, you're getting forces activated, homeopathic forces that are creating more and more and more from nothing. And it doesn't add up. I know that Lavoisier's law is like, okay, nothing's destroyed, nothing's created. I don't agree. I disagree with Lavoisier's law. Something's always created. You do everything right, more will come out than came in. That's what's illegal to say.
Well, I tell
Meaning that
people
a little input, large output.
I think I forget how you say it. It's something like the circle is greater than the whole. How's that saying going again? You know, where you have something that's greater than the
Yeah,
whole.
the circle is greater than the sum of its parts.
You know, that's
That's
exactly
the truth.
and that's exactly what it is. That's what it's really all about. That's why I got the name Invisible Gardener to a certain extent, because I tell people Mother Nature is Invisible Gardener. Seriously, and she makes things all the time, and all we have to do is just do the right thing for her. You know, just be in the right place, and just because we tend to destroy things. We are very good at destroying things. You know, very, very good at just destroying things rather than just paying attention and doing Tai Chi with the Mother Nature, so to speak, right? You take the energy and, you know, you see the energy, you say thank you, you know, and that's what it's really all about. And that's why I really love you, man. You really have you're going in the right direction. You have a lot of work to do because the earth, the people on this planet are like cuckoo, cuckoo. You know, more and more people are starving now than ever before, and yet we're throwing more food away, and the food is no good either. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we're all gonna die anyway. But some of us, and you can't just be the light in the dark, right? I mean, because everybody has to have light. We need to have the can. So it's a process that we're doing. I'm really glad that you came on the show because I was told you're not going to do it. You know, there's no way we're going to get you here, and here you are.
Yeah, we can't believe that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
so
thank
hard
you.
to-
No, I'm happy. Anything on this, you know, this is what I love. I mean, like what you guys love. This is what we love, and when that's shared out there in the world, people feel that they feel the passion for it. And they go, "Whoa, what is this? There's something here." You know, look at what my love delivered in my life. I never in a million years would have ever thought I'd be a vanilla grower growing vanilla like this, but it's the love. It's the love brought me to it. Look at the magic of this.
And you know, you can take that vanilla, make a liquid from it, and spray your plants with it, and they all would love it.
I'll tell you what, whenever you say compost tea, you know, you're going out spraying, nothing likes compost tea more than vanilla. The vanillas just go because they're an orchid.
Yeah. Do you aerate your compost tea? Do you aerate it?
We aerate it, yes.
Cool.
And the guy who's my main caretaker here, really amazing guy. His main love in life is compost tea.
Right. See, I tell people a lot of people don't know how to make compost. It's like ridiculous. I go to the store, it says compost, no manure. I'm going, okay, right? And how can you have compost, living compost in a plastic bag, sealed up in a plastic bag?
I don't know.
It's right. It's like, and so people do not know. Oh, look, I made this compost. I'm going, no, you didn't. They don't know between the difference between compost and something's rotting, right? It's like there's no life, there's no energy in it. That's
Mother Nature knows. And so, and I've learned over the years, Andy, something really important here, which is actually, if we really are just paying attention, everything is already here on this farm. Everything we need is already here. We've got enough forest soil. We've got enough water. We've got a great compost tea brewer. Everything's all here. We don't need to go anywhere. We can just make it all here. And we don't even need to get my neighbor right down here, his manure. We don't even need it, really. We could get it all here. It's all from here. If you're clever, if you're looking closely, oh, you don't have enough carbon? Then we're going to burn a fire. You don't have enough calcium? We're going to use some ash. You don't have enough of this? You don't have enough of that? We'll figure it out. We'll chop and drop it. We'll create a digestion system where this right here is turning into this stuff turns into like it turns into like a coconut coir. you know, where it's like it's a perfect rooting material. You can't believe it. When this stuff breaks down the shell of this and durian shell, and then you're putting the young tree into it, the roots just go
right.
explosive.
And you're having so much fun for it. I can see you're getting, this is better than LSD anytime, isn't it?
It is.
Isn't it?
Growing food, and actually, I will say this: I've found that a lot of times, some of my favorite moments of growing food and farming has been when I'm fasting.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're getting nourished from it. It's the most amazing thing how nourished you get from
That's
just
right.
being out there farming.
I used to fast with Victor Kovinskis when he did Survival in the 21st Century. You ever
Oh
read that?
yeah, you're old school. You're
Old school.
fantastic. What a character. I love Victoris.
30 days of fasting, and it was like tripping. You was really tripping because you started breathing air. You go, oh, this is good. Yum, 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 right? You know what I mean? The energy comes in, the energy goes out. You see the energy, you're part of it. I really like what you're doing, and you're just starting to. You're just starting. You're just starting to hit your stride to attract more and more people. And it's not too late. It's never too late to change your consciousness. It's never too late to say, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to. When I was young, people would tell me, everybody go off the cliff. I'm going, no, I don't think so. Right? I don't think
Nope.
so.
There will be a fraction of us that will make it all the way into thousands of years into the future, and it's people who are aware of these kinds of ideas. And you know, my friend had a great saying, which is, "It's never too late to live. It's always too early to die."
Right.
Yes. Well, listen, I really enjoy you coming here, and I really enjoy.
Thank you.
We had a great 3 hours with you with your session last time. It was absolutely amazing. I still got a list of all my goals and everything. Yes, Michelle.
Yay! Awesome.
And
go ahead, Michelle.
Let's mention your website for the charity, www. What is it?
ftpf.org. ftpf.org. Fruit Tree Planting Foundation.
And mention your website too, the one you have your store on and everything.
Yeah, I'm just shop.davidwolfe.com, and it's WOLFE. There's an E on the end. And
I have a question for you. The pine cone, what's it called? What's it called? Crystallized? What did you say it's called?
The oil?
Which one? Oh, you're talking about the pine pollen.
The pine pollen, right. And what's it called?
So pine pollen is a very interesting phenomenon in most of the world, because pine pollen comes down just before the spring spurt of growth occurs. And this is related because the pine pollen contains steroidal compounds, 5 classes of them actually, of which one grouping called the brassinosteroids is testosterone, androsterone, androstenedione, and DHEA.
I love this stuff. I love it.
It's super powerful. I mean, pine pollen is one of the greatest things there is.
You don't even need to eat it. You just hold it in your hand. Right? Just hold the container in your hand. You go, oh, okay.
You should see how it is processing it, because you're breathing it. It's getting into you. You're just, so when we're processing, pounds of it, that is something else. And that's why we love it actually more than anything else. It's like just dealing with the material is so cool.
That is really, really cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate you coming on. I get off on this. I don't need to do any drugs for a long time now, because I'm going, holy cow, wow, right. And that's what it's all about, right? Leaving people in such a state of mind that they go, the heck with that, the heck with this. I'm going to just, change the world. And we could. And imagine children getting off like this, imagine her kids getting this energy and just changing the world, right?
We make it mandatory that people come in here with their kids. When people are like, can I bring my kids? I'm like, yeah, actually bring the kids, you stay home. Because this is more of a kid's place, right? It's like, this is this house is like a pirate ship. It really is. It's like a pirate ship. It's crazy like that.
There be pirates.
Kids love it. We're way up high looking down on the farm, and it's a neat spot. It's like a tree house.
I'm 13. I will always be 13, no matter how old my body is. My body says you're 102. No, I'm 13. And I always go for the wonder of life. I'm happy to wake up in the morning. I hardly ever sleep anymore because I'm so excited about everything. I hate electricity. The electrical energy that goes through these houses are bad. I mean, I love sitting in the middle of the forest. There's nothing, and you go, whoa, holy cow. You know what I mean? And so I'm really, really looking forward to spending more time with you. And anybody with any brains should do that because you have so much knowledge you give off to people. And we mesh really well, you know, because I'm a great gardener. I just love sticking my hand in the soil. I love playing in the soil. To me, it's not work. You know, I mean, I can go there and work, play all day and sweat, and I love it. And the energy flows from me into the plants, and the plants go, oh, and I wrote a book one called Dances with Ants. Not
Oh,
about
nice
killing the ants.
title.
It's not about killing the ants. The ants is not, they're not bad guys. If you work with them, they're part of Mother Nature's. Their job is to clean up your mess. How's that? Right? Right? So
I don't fight the ants. It's
no,
like I can't get every little last drop. Give it to the ants. Let them deal with it. And
right.
I've gotten flack over that over the years, but I got to tell you, it's like to me, like ants are a clean creature. They
Yeah.
clean things up for you. So
Yeah.
I don't try to. I'm not like, oh, we have to fight this and fight that. That's such a
No.
terrible concept. It's who wants to live like that?
Exactly. That's why I call it dances. When I saw Dances with Wolves, I said, "Oh, Dances with Ants." I said, "Wow, that was like." But that's exactly what he did with the wolves, right? He started to relate to them. I talked to the queen ant. I said, "Your Majesty, I gotta talk to you," you know. And they said, "Well, you guys are a bunch of bums. You destroy everything and throw food around. We were here before you anyway, and they're gonna be here after us. When we're gone, they're gonna say, you remember those things used to walk around on two legs? Where were they?" So
It's interesting what they do to the soil, isn't it? Right?
yeah,
They normalize the soil. I do want to leave it with one last thing. And when one time I was learning from a master of farming, and we dug a hole, like not a hole, but kind of like at the edge of a like a cliff. We dug down and we stripped all the soil away, and we looked at like 6 feet of soil, and you could see the different strata of the soil. And the guy's like, "You see how much you know about soil? You don't know anything about soil." Because I looked at that and I was like, "Wow, how is it so stratified? How is all the layers like done like that?" And I've noticed over the years that when you farm and you create like the charcoal at the bottom and you have all these different layers, that Mother Nature, through the earthworms and the ants and the cockroaches and all the little creatures in there and the nematodes, it will organize and stratify the soil for you.
exactly right. And you know what? I tell people it's like a condo, a high-rise condo. Not only is it different levels, but different organisms live at different levels. They're all organized. And what happens when you get a farmer and goes, it destroys all that. Literally, it destroys all the different levels and all
Shakes
the
it up, flips it around, turns it upside. I mean, it's just like, whoa.
and
Um,
people don't realize that farmers contribute over 20 to 40% of the climate change, all the carbon, because the earth absorbs the carbon. And when you destroy that ability to hold the carbon, actually release more carbon, because the earth has evolved. Everything has evolved with carbon. I tell people microbes take carbon and they make carbonic acid. That's what they use to take the minerals and turn it into a nutrient that they can eat. We can't eat that. We have to eat something else that eats that. It's a process, right? It's a simple. Try to eat rock dust someday, crushing it. Doesn't work. I tried. It doesn't work. No.
I have
Right?
too.
Right? But you have to eat something else that eats that. That's the whole process. That's the whole process. It's really cool. When I first did psilocybin mushrooms, I realized that it's the soil is not just a living thing, but it's a mycelium is a web, and a really cool web. It's like the same web that the universe in. The brain has the same web patterns, and the soil has the same web pattern. And talk about particles entrapping. You know, when it's called entrapment, when you have a particle one place and another part of the universe, and they're entrapped and they're sewn in together. We are entrapped with this web. We're part of this web. With this web of the soil, this web in our brain. If you look at the brain, it's a big web. You look at the source, the universe, it's a big web, and we are a part of it. We're trapped. That's why we get to saying we are one conscience, and we are one. We truly are, and we can just allow Mother Nature to come through us because we are Mother Nature, or we are God. God is in us, and God's around us, and it's really, really cool. And I really love it. And again, I do. You're like a little kid, you know that? You're younger than me.
Well, I picked 16 as my perpetual age. So 13 is a good choice, by the way. I picked 16 as my perpetual age, but even back at 16, I've always been a renegade planter. I've been a renegade planter since I was born. That it's just, I'm a Johnny Appleseed by birth, and you probably are too. And same with Michelle. I mean, that's just how we are, that we know that the trees are gifts that can keep on giving and move into the future and create create a future for God knows how many generations down the line. I'm hoping that one of these trees I planted will live 1,000 years or longer. I've got some baobabs on this land that will definitely live 1,000 years if they're untouched. There's one right in front, right here in the middle of the property that I was looking at last night. And I was like, wow, it's got the, it's got this, it's about this big now. I brought it back from South Africa in 2013, the seed, and sprouted it up. And now it's just getting to be, actually in a month, it'll be 10 years old.
Excellent, excellent. I have to tell you something. I have these peyote buttons growing and they're 50 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to do anything with them. They produce seeds and I give the seeds away. They're 50 years old. Okay?
Wow.
And they get to be hundreds of years old, the peyote buttons. If nobody, things will live a long time if you get rid of human beings. You get rid of human beings, the trees and everything will survive a long, long time. They don't do well because we cut them down. We do all kinds of stuff they're not supposed to be doing. I don't know how we got on this path, right? You know more about it. How we got into money as opposed to not having money. That's why I like Star Trek. You don't need money. Maybe we'll get there someday, right? Maybe we'll get there.
We'll get there. We will get past it. It's inevitable because this kind of situation is unsustainable. Let's hope that we get there with grace rather than toil and trouble. But I think if your head's in the right place and your heart's in the right place, you will get there with grace. And if your heart's in the wrong place, it's going to be tough because Mother Nature's going to be like, hey, get over there. It's a lot easier there. And people resist that and they suffer as a result. What can we do? We just try to point and just be like, over there, go that way. And that's all we can do.
My doctor hated me because I would take my wife there. So what are you doing here? I said, I'm bringing her here. And he said, you need to take a flu shot. I don't want to take a flu shot. You need to take the shot. I don't want to take that shot. I said, what's wrong with you? Nothing wrong with me. What's wrong with you? It was like we didn't get along very well. And I still do that. The VA said, you got to do these vaccines. You got to do this. I said, no, I don't think so.
Don't need to do any of it.
I don't think so.
Mother Nature's medicine. This right here was a wild mushroom tea from all the wild mushrooms growing around here.
Great.
The tree mushrooms, the polypore mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms. I'm telling you that right there, the power of that, especially when you're in a high kind of fruit environment and, it rounds out the energy in a really incredible way.
All the energy flows through all your chakras. All the energy flows in and flows out. It's like, whoa. Breathing is a good part of it, right? Breathing is a big part of it. And maybe we should do this again, okay? We should do this again because we have so much fun. We're going to publish it. And I'll send you guys a link so that...
Yeah, send me the link. I'd love to get it out. And thank you guys. And thanks so much for your time and what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate the message you're doing. Thanks, Michelle. And thanks, Andy. You guys
I gave
rock.
you more time than you've ever given anybody. It's like an hour
Oh, thanks.
or so.
Oh, we went over an hour. Jeez, I thought we were just having fun.
Yeah, we keep going for a while, bro. So thank you very much. Namaste.
Okay.
Aloha.
Bye.
Aloha.
Take care now.
Bye.
All right, everybody,
Mahalo.
we're going now. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay, guys. We'll
All
see
right.
you later. We got to go. Take care now, okay?
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.